right, so today we're diving deep into a YouTube video about Rastafari teachings.
Okay.
Pretty interesting stuff. It's called Spirituality, Discipline, and Healthy Lifestyle. Rastafari teachings with someone called Rostimulant. It's on the channel I Never Knew TV.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, pretty fascinating. Have you ever felt like you're just totally disconnected from nature?
Yeah.
Like, how do you even fix that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. All the time.
Well, Rostimulant might have some answers, some surprising ones.
Yeah, well, he presents Rastafari as not really just a religion, but more like a way of life,
I see, yeah.
All about connecting with nature to find your true self.
Yeah, and right off the bat, he calls Rastafari like a portal to discover different parts of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think he means by that?
I think he's saying that by following these principles, you can really explore your inner world. It's like those principles are kind of like a map or a framework for self-discovery.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I like that. He also talks about using your DNA to tap into this knowledge of the universe, which is a pretty wild concept.
Right.
But he makes it clear that you need discipline to really unlock that potential.
Yeah, he has this great analogy, like a race car driver can only go top speed if the car is well maintained,
Yeah.
It's the same with our minds. Like, we need that mental and spiritual discipline to really control our thoughts and reach our full potential, I think.
So it's kind of like weeding out those negative thoughts to make room for the positive ones.
Exactly, yeah. You got to make space.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
What about, like, in your own life? Is there an area where you think a little more discipline could help you grow?
I've been trying to stick to a meditation routine.
Oh, yes.
It's hard, but yeah, I think that would help.
For sure. Okay, now here's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Rostimulant talks about this whole transition he made to a raw, organic, and homegrown diet, and he really believes that that's like a core part of this Rastafari lifestyle.
Oh, yeah, he's pretty serious about that.
Yeah, and he actually says raw food makes you look younger and make you live longer. It is blatant and it is undeniable. Strong words.
Yeah, but we gotta remember that's his personal experience.
Totally, yeah.
We know there are benefits to raw food, but
Of course.
Yeah.
It's just one perspective.
But I gotta say, his passion is kind of contagious.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was reading up on this, and there's a lot of research out there about the benefits of raw foods, especially all those enzymes and nutrients they pack.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, if you increase your intake of raw fruits and vegetables, you're getting all those vitamins, minerals, antioxidants.
Right, it's like a powerhouse.
Totally.
So he describes this really interesting mental shift that happened when he switched from eating meat to vegetables.
Yeah, that was a fascinating part.
What do you make of that?
Well, he's saying that if you eat, aggressive animals, you kind of become more aggressive yourself.
Oh, but if you eat these peaceful vegetables, it helps you develop a more positive mindset, right? It's pretty out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a fascinating take.
Right.
He even goes on to connect this to society as a whole.
I know, right?
Yeah, saying that, like, if we all ate more plant-based, the world would be more peaceful. Do you think there's any science behind that, like a connection between what you eat and how aggressive you are?
Well, aggression is a pretty complex thing. There's
Right.
lots of factors, right? So it's hard to say diet is the only cause. But there are some studies that show a link between certain hormones and eating meat. So
Yeah.
it's not conclusive, but it's something to think about.
Yeah. More research needed, right?
Always.
But, I mean, it's definitely something to consider. Like, could there be this connection between our food and how we act as individuals and as a whole society?
It's an interesting question, that's for sure.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, one thing that really stuck with me is how he describes growing his own food. He says it's like raising children, which shows like a really deep connection with what he's eating, like real respect for it.
I see, yeah.
It's really something.
Yeah, it reminds me of mindful eating.
Yeah.
Like being present and grateful for what you're consuming.
Right.
But do you think there's even more to it than that?
Definitely. There's this whole like sustainability angle too, right?
Right.
When you grow your own food, you're way more connected to where it comes from, You understand the work, the resources that go into it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a whole different level of appreciation.
It makes you appreciate it so much more.
Yeah.
I've done a bit of gardening myself.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, there's something so satisfying about, harvesting your own food and just knowing exactly where it came from.
For sure.
It's like it brings us right back to that Rastafari idea of being in harmony with nature, which seems to be like a big theme here.
Absolutely. And raw stimulant goes even deeper into that,
Right.
not just through food, but in all parts of life. It's really interesting. And that's something we're going to dig into even more as we keep going in this deep dive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so how exactly does raw stimulant, suggest we reconnect with nature? Because it's the modern world, right? We're kind of disconnected in so many ways.
Yeah, it's tough. But he really focuses on observing those natural cycles and rhythms, like the seasons, day and night, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks, modern society with all the technology and information overload, it kind of disrupts our natural flow.
Mm-hmm. It's like we're always rushing, always driving, and never really stop to just be present,
Yeah.
like connect with ourselves or the world around us.
Exactly, yeah. And he believes that that disconnect is a big part of why we experience so much stress and unhappiness,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so he suggests that we can find more peace, more balance by aligning ourselves with those natural rhythms.
He uses this really interesting analogy about planting food. He says, if you don't protect the plant, the bugs eat it. If you don't water the plant, it withers away. The plant needs nourishment, someone to look over it.
It kind of sounds like a metaphor for like our own well-being, doesn't it?
Right. It's like just like a plant. We got to nourish our bodies, our minds, our spirits to really, thrive.
Yeah.
We need that healthy food, the positive thoughts, the meaningful connections.
And I really like how he emphasizes that we're a part of nature, not separate from it,
Mm.
Like when we're taking care of ourselves, we're also taking care of the planet.
Yeah, that's all connected.
Yeah. He also talks about developing this relationship with our food,
Mm-hmm.
like moving beyond just seeing it as fuel.
He even mentions developing a signal with his plants when he's, growing his own food. It's like he's actually communicating with them on some deeper level. What do you think he means by that?
It's a really interesting idea, isn't it? Like, is there some kind of energetic exchange happening between humans and nature, like a connection that's beyond just the physical?
Right.
It kind of ties back to the whole spiritual aspect of Rastafari,
Yeah, it's pretty deep. He says, by planting the food, you develop a balance. You develop a relationship with the food.
Hmm.
You develop that love that you should have for your child. I mean, it's such a beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah, it really is. And it suggests that, by nurturing our food, we're also nurturing ourselves, right? And deepening that connection we have with the natural world.
It becomes so much more than just what we eat. It's the how and the where it came from and
Exactly.
all of that.
It's the whole picture.
Yeah. So like even those small steps, like choosing organic produce or growing, I don't know, some herbs on our windowsill, could that have a big impact?
Oh, for sure. I think those small choices can be like a starting point,
Yeah.
For really connecting with nature in a meaningful way. It's about that mindset shift,
Yeah.
becoming more aware of our relationship with the environment.
It's amazing how this whole deep dive has just challenged so many of our assumptions about these concepts and it's offering this really fresh perspective.
Totally. It's about expanding our awareness,
Mm-hmm.
being open to new ways of thinking and living. Now, listener, we want you to think about your own relationship with nature for a second. Do you feel connected or disconnected? What could you do? What steps could you take to strengthen that bond? It's something to think about.
It is, yeah. And as we move into this final part of our deep dive, we're going to explore another key aspect of Rastafari teachings, living a life of purpose and service.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, stick with us to discover more about how these principles can be applied in our daily lives. Okay, so we've talked about a lot here, from self-discovery and discipline to connecting with nature through the food we eat.
Yeah. Lots to unpack.
It feels like it's all building towards something, like a sense of purpose, maybe.
Yeah, you're definitely picking up on something there. That's a big part of Rastafari teachings, the whole idea of living a life of purpose and service to others.
Okay, but Rasta Stimulant doesn't lay out any specific actions for service. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how do we interpret that concept? within the whole Rastafari framework.
Well, it seems like the focus is less about specific things you have to do and more about, cultivating that mindset of service in everything you do.
So it's more about just like living those principles, like love, compassion, respect for all living things, and just like letting that guide your actions.
Exactly. Yeah. It could be like, a simple act of kindness to a stranger or volunteering your time or maybe speaking out against injustice. It's about recognizing that we're all connected and understanding that our actions have this ripple effect.
Right. It all comes back to that Rastafari belief in unity and uplifting humanity as a whole.
Mm.
It's not just about personal enlightenment, right? It's about working towards a better world for everyone.
For sure. So taking everything we've learned here today, we want to leave you with something to really think about. We've explored this idea of living in harmony with nature, but what does that even mean, in our modern world? Is it even possible?
It's a big question, isn't
Yeah.
it? Maybe it's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
Embracing technology, but staying grounded in nature, focusing on personal growth, but also contributing to the well-being of everyone.
Yeah, maybe it's about finding, wisdom in these ancient traditions, but also like adapting them to the challenges of today's world.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, we encourage you to keep exploring these ideas, question things, reflect, and share your own insights.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Rastafari teachings. We hope you've discovered something new, something to think about, and feel inspired to continue your own journey of learning and growth.
Yeah, keep seeking, keep diving deep. Until next time.